Sleep log. I talk while I sleep. Sometimes I laugh for a long while. T tells me that I speak quickly, and he can only hear my side of conversations. I dream about lakes, caves, drapes. I flap my arms with much effort, fly upwards, hit a smooth white ceiling. My snores are delicate, T says. I hear a disembodied voice, snap, alert. For years, nails and shards of glass flew from my mouth. I imagine this as rage. I sleep under 4 heavy blankets, dream about losing a purse, even though I don't own one. My older sister visits me. She died 6 years ago. She swings a leopard skin pouch around on a golden chain. She is glowing. I whisper, everything is going to be okay.
First poem. I found poetry in the spring, glistening under ice-covered boughs outside my 4th grade classroom window. Our teacher said, write about spring because it was March, though the corners of our eyes were still frozen lakes. It's Minnesota. Enough said. We all lived on the realm of possibility. I was 9. In my eyes, everything was possible, even kindness to a girl who looked so different. They were snow, and I was the brown bough, buds ready to burst when the time was right. I wrote about how everything is born in spring. Trees, plants, mosquitoes, and ants all had the right to be in this world, like I did, like the Dakota and Ojibwe people did. In that state, that meant sky-tinted water in Dakota. Minnesota, like my poem on spring did in the district journal called Promises. I understood then that poems were promises I made to myself.
Resident alien. Hiking up hill trail, a red-tailed hawk circles high above us. Looking for something dead, B says, eat my soul, I scream at the bird. There are several ways to befriend the foreign. Hug the oak trees, thumb the poppy, gush over the French broom, its 6-foot invasive naughtiness. When you tire of what is above, look under, says our nature guide. Clusters of chanterelles, milk thistle bundles, and the rough memory of shaving my pubes last minute in an office loo for a San Franciscan date who said about the fake succulents accenting his every surface, isn't it better who has time for water? Would you give up your citizenship for this? Fingernail moon, owl hoots, silhouettes of pine. Along each long glide, the hawk beats her wings, restoring her flight.
Sleep log. I sleep wearing a long sleeve cotton shirt, no underwear. Dream. I live in a basement in Buenos Aires with other performance artists. If I want dinner, I am required to do a 6-minute piece. T snores deeply, soundly. I dream about mini malls, stalls, fall balls. We use silicone earplugs from Walgreens, 12 to a box. For years, my ex would appear on a train, wearing a dark suit, moonlight on his face, pretends not to see me. T's foot seizes and he jumps off the mattress to walk off the pain. Last night, a blue baby was sipping from a small bowl of Dr. Pepper. Long ago, I dream of Granny in a flowery lounge. I cry in her lap.
It is the morning after, and we should all be celebrating a country that from outer appearances seems white, but is so full of color that it bleeds at the edges. America, whose name is not quite American, taken from an Italian explorer who deemed this land a separate continent and marked it on a map, Amerigo. And will we ever know what it was called before that? Some say Turtle Island, but I imagine there were many other names. And all beginnings seem borrowed here, nothing completely belonging to you or me or anyone else. And for the longest time, America, you didn't seem to be mine. You didn't want me, for though I resided in you, America is not where I came from, is what I was constantly told. And I'll never forget the women who yelled, "Speak English, you're in America now," when I was talking to my friend in our mother tongue, Hindi, 25 years ago, a private conversation in a public mall, which offended an old white lady because she couldn't comprehend that I liked a blue dress versus a red one. This was not the first time, of course, nor would it be the last. And the irony was that this took place in a state whose name was not in English, but in the tongue of the Dakota, Minnesota, meaning cloudy water. And I remember all the others who came up to me as I was growing up, commending me on my language skills, praising me in superlatives, good, better, best, leaving me perplexed, for my first language was English, birth certificate stamped by Her Royal Majesty's subjects. And did they know they were being condescending when they said, "You don't even have an accent"? And I wish I would have responded by saying, "Wow, neither do you." But I didn't. And when they told me they liked curry or called me curryhead, I should have asked which one instead of ignoring it. Instead, I swallowed their comments, one stone after another, my body growing heavier and heavier, as two towers fell, and blood and oil spilled, and walls with barbed wire started lining the border. And still we trudged to our jobs. Still we had our babies, as men with turbans got shot, and women were scared to roam the streets with dots on their foreheads, or burqas. These we dismissed as misunderstandings and moved forward chasing the American dream. And amidst pleas of "I can't breathe," 4,000 lives felled like trees from negligence, we still believed in some inherent goodness, hope that our first Black president rightly called audacious. And we prayed at our temples, our churches, our houses of worship to get some answers, some solace. And do you know the fable of the crow that wanted a sip of water but couldn't reach the bottom of the pitcher? And so they filled them with stones one by one until the water reached the top. My words have reached the top now, America, and are spilling over. When we first arrived, by foot, by plane, by sea, you were the promise, the dream, that golden husk shining in the sun, so bright it almost blinded us. And even when they said, "Go back to where you came from," we stayed put, resolute, and built a fountain from stones, caught and swallowed, collecting all the pennies tossed in with unfulfilled wishes. And now our pockets bulge and jingle as we walk rich with suffering and learning. And so our time comes now to give back, as dawn's early light trickles in, to quench the thirst of all around us, to be water raised by stones, a pitcher for everyone to drink from, the morning after the storm. And can you hear the chorus? Birds perched branch to branch, rain glazed, snow dusted, from cherry tree to maple grove to redwood forest, singing, "We are here, we are home."
Sheridan, Wyoming. I dressed my limbs in sheets of sunscreen, asking myself, is this the solitude you wanted? I carried an insulated pink lunch bag. mosquitoes that spat kisses on my arms and ankles. Each night, a show about two teens on the run for murder lulled me to sleep. On my way to work, I couldn't quite see Bighorn through the haze of a faraway fire. Twice a magpie grazed by my window. I counted the taxidermy on the Western Saloon's walls to keep me from looking at the white people looking at me, if they looked at all. When you cut open an animal, which way do you point its gaze? While eating a turkey sandwich with pepper jack by the creek, I saw a coyote pounce upon an antelope fawn. The scene was so noiseless it could have been paradise. I said aloud to nobody, I am to be married.
Sleep log. I drink a glass of water while sleeping. Last night, my dead cat walked through the air above me. I reached out to her as she disappeared. I dream I am an orphan. I watch myself eating a hard-boiled egg over a metal platter. I swallow a capful of Delsum cough syrup. Rub my chilled feet against T's calves. My hands are cold too. One summer, I tried drinking heated milk with half cloves of garlic and nutmeg to combat insomnia. I dream of moats, floats, old goats. Every night we hear sirens and cars racing around the parking lots. I ask T before he falls asleep in seconds, where should we meet? If I wake in anxiety, I touch his back and count backwards in Spanish.
Abid with mother gone. And then it came back to me as I heard a young boy practice his violin under the concrete canopy of the park's amphitheater, the Italian phrase dolce far niente, the sweetness of doing nothing. Although the student was not doing nothing, the violin, like a prayer pressed between his chin and shoulder, our one virus perhaps, had pushed him out of home, alone, taking his lesson on his phone screen with no audience to applaud, except a dad chasing his daughter chasing bubbles. And isn't observing a toddler tailing bubbles the equivalent of sneaking in a mid morning nap? Oh, yes. Look how they were all occupied in their business of joy, and I sat with a croissant so buttery I could seduce it. But really, I was just tired of the news. Tired of counting the dead, then remembering the dead. I sat with coffee I did not need. I was beyond awake, hallucinating the eucalyptus was my playful grandfather, gone last week. Oh no, gone we knew when he wouldn't even eat soup. What is the feeling that the smell of trees fills one with, which is so much like slowing down our pace wherever we were so Grandpa could catch up? Dear world, I prayed, go slow today, take one person less in your mortal stead, lend us all an extra hour. Let us make this time no productive claim of calling it a saving. Instead, a stillness of feeling triumphantly useless, like the myriad minutes spent looking through thick branches to spot the singing blue jay, knowing the bird like happiness will have flown elsewhere before you can trace the source of its little fulfilling music. Thank you.